Hey guys, Karim here, and this video is gonna be another video. However, this one's gonna be a more personal video than the one that I did beforehand, and I want to talk about this game again. It's been a while since I talked about Taiko recently because again, I made two videos where I've talked about this game on large and how I'm frankly disappointed at the current state of the game. By this time, I want to talk about something else regarding, you know, the current state of the series at large and how it's been in a place where I don't really think that people are gonna like give it much attention anymore. Because again, it's true that this game has been supported. Like, let's get the facts out of the way right now. This game has been well fed, and the fact that there's something to look forward every month feels, satisfying. That you can just come every month and there's something for you to do, especially when it comes to the single player, is really nice. However, my problem with when I did the first two videos was mostly about the multiplayer section, where I said that this game had one of like the best single player series of things to do in the Taiko games. When if you're looking at it from the single player side, this game is easily one of the best in the series. However, I think this is pretty much the game that pretty much sacrificed the single player for the multiplayer a lot, and I think it has affected this game greatly to the point where it's basically really hard to get a person to play Taiko with anymore, especially when it comes to Rhythm Festival. Like the fact that of the matter is that you basically need to do a stream now, especially if you want to get someone to play with you. It's really sad. And not to mention that again, considering the focus now has been on the arcades ever since they have been shipped out to the states. That's pretty much the focus for everyone right now. So again, everyone's focusing on that. So even if you want to get some multiplayer battles, then most of the time it just goes to the win because again, no one is really gonna want to play with you. Meaning that if there's like a matchmaking channel in a Taiko server, you can pretty much expect that to be deserved. Like maybe once in a while, someone would, maybe play with you and answer requests, but even then, that's way too late to the point where you're mostly gonna even forget that you even requested that you wanted to play with someone in the first place. Which again really frustrates me of how the rank system of this game is really handled. Again, I've already made a show about this, but I'm just gonna talk about it again because it's really frustrating how Namco left the rank system of this game the way it is, and they expected people to grind this out. Like, I'm sorry, but no one is gonna spend that much of their day trying to grind out a rank system that doesn't even like reward them, or it's even worth their time for the amount of effort that you have to put in just so you can actually play in a difficulty that feels fair. When the first Taiko Switch game did that way better, and even to a larger extent TDMX, or taikonotatsujin the Drum Master, and the PS4 game also did that decently well too. Granted, I can't really say much about the PS4 because again I don't have like drum section, but I'm pretty sure that game's rank was also way better than what we had now. But especially considering that this is the currently only supported Taiko game, assuming you don't want to import drum and fun, it's a bit hectic, especially now when you're considering where you're gonna get your rank fixed now. Because again, your only three options at this point are either sticking with this game, importing drum and fun, and let me remind you that you can't get the Xbox game anymore because they delisted it as of last year. And your only other option is getting a PS4 and playing rhythm drum section if you still want your ranks fixed. Granted, I know that not many people are really going to care because again, the focus is on this game, especially with the music parts being the main selling point of the game, which, to be fair, has been the selling point of this game. Again, I know I said it on Ichigo's stream, but I'll say it again that this game saving pass, saving grace actually was the music pass because again, it's pretty much the only reason why this game is still thriving. To be frank with you, because again, had this game pretty much been the same situation as Drum and Fun, where we pretty much just had this and the DLC, a lot of people have been more critical of the game. However, the music part sort of softens that blow a bit to the point where it doesn't really sting as much, but it still really hurts to the point where people now have to even make separate like rooms or hell, even Discord servers just to even play ranked match. And the fact that it's like been some years and we still don't have stuff that was from NS1, like tournament battles and all that. It's just really going to be hard for people to really do ranked. Again, I know I'm saying this, saying that ranked also has rewards for you as well as when you participate in a certain amount of battles, you also get a treasure battle where if you manage to win the treasure battle, you get a random accessory for your mind, which I think is cool. But the thing is that even if like you know, there's a bit of incentive to do rank because again, at the end of every month, you get a nameplate, which thankfully people in the Taiko server have shared what you pretty much get every month, which what you would think that that will actually incentivize people to play, but again, the thing is that people are not still willing to play because again, this is basically one of those things where if they don't really change the structure of how ranked is done, because their rule set that they have basically done now is the same rule set they've pretty much done. Because again, this game pretty much had two rule sets for rank. The first rule set was my song rule set. That rule set, you you and your opponent basically picked your own songs. Again, the caveat was that you had to do two matches instead of one because you had to play your song and the opponent's song. And at the end, their total was tallied from both of the songs, and whoever performed better from those two songs was the winner. However, it went back to the old rule set that Drum and Fan and Drum Section had, where it was just one match and whoever performs better wins, which I think is again more faster and a bit fun, but at the same time too, it also led to the current frustration that a lot of people are having with rhythm festivals rank mode, which is totally fair. However, I think that it's pretty much come to the point where I'm wondering how how long are people going to just be complacent with the current state of this game and us and of the franchise as a whole? Because we pretty much just has come to a point where what are we just waiting for? Like, how long are we pretty much going to stay complacent and accepting of everything that Bandai Namco does when we don't really challenge them? Again, I'm saying this because, again, to be frank with you, and I know this is going to ruffle a few feathers, but the taikonotatsujin community is one of the more aloof communities I know, to the point where, like, you're not really going to see that much people go after Bandai Namco, unlike some other franchises where like they'll pretty much be at the devs end for making one of the worst updates for a game. So the point where people are going to complain about the game being dead and all that, that kind of stuff. Again, that doesn't really happen. Again, Taiko is pretty much one of those places where people are mostly just complacent, and most of the time people are mostly doing their own thing. So again, it's mostly just like gameplays, people talking about the history of the game, retrospective stuff like that. But for someone to outright come and complain about the state of the game, we're never going to really see that. And even if you're talking about like reviews, otherwise, you're never going to see people talking about negatively about Attack of the game because again, this is pretty much one of those franchises where it has pretty much been the same since there's not really that much gameplay changes at all. Like the only thing that you pretty much get with a Taiko game is what songs you're gonna pick, and depending on the platform of the choice, whether it's like DS, 3DS, or Wii, the gimmicks that comes with playing the game, as long as the peripherals you play the game with. So again, I was wondering like how long are people going to be complacent until somebody asks for a change? Because again, I think that if this franchise is gonna continue like the way that it is, I don't think things are pretty much gonna end up well. Because again, last year we had the disastrous launch of the cabinets, and I'm pretty sure if you've pretty much been in the community or at least a server, you have seen how awful the cabinets were treated. So much to the point where they basically had to redesign them. And thankfully, the cabinets are working and are fairly in better condition now as they were before. But again, that still doesn't excuse the fact that they were shipped in such poor condition. Because again, the dream for most Taiko fans was the fact that again, when they were first announced from the Nigeria live stream a while ago, Bandai Namco said that they were going to ship them off to the West, and this was really exciting news for us because keep in mind that at the time before the announcement, the only way we were pretty much able to get Taiko play was pretty much playing the games that were pretty much localized, like Drum and Fun and the PS4 game. And now this game as well, before they announced Rhythm Festival and the Nigeria game as well before it came to the States. So again, when Nigeria came out, people were excited, but that excitement pretty much quickly turned into disappointment when people find out that it wasn't really up to par. And thankfully speaking, while things are much better now, the problem still persists even to this day. So it pretty much just killed my enjoyment. Like I still have a cab that I still go to frequently, but even then, I wasn't even able to really play it that much because it kept dropping my inputs no matter how well I did. So again, it pretty much demotivated me to not even go to the cab anymore. So at this point, I gotta ask, what do you do now? Because taking a look at this game and the current state that it's in, it really disappointed me. To the point where sometimes I even question if making content for this game anymore is going to be a possibility. Again, it's not that I'm really going to stop, but like at some point, you're just going to wonder what's really going on anymore. And is this even worth it? Granted, it's easy to suggest, say, well, continue making content, sure, but like, again, it's no real change is done at all. Then I frankly think that it's gonna go nowhere because again, there's only so much fans can do to support again. Because if the company itself is not really gonna care about the product like at all, then the game might as well be a living corpse until something happens or there's vocal outcry that things really need to be changed. Like the fact that it took them until summer of last year for them to bring out a server, which by the way, one of my friends was so grateful that they shared the information with me so I could fill out the survey. Again, I should have told you guys last summer. Again, this happened during the Miku collaboration. I should have told you guys last summer about this, but to be fair, I was kind of down in the dumps and I was looking for a job at the time. So again, I couldn't really inform you guys on time. I did inform you guys later on hand about the Hasan and Miku collaboration. And speaking of collaborations, that that was a recent collaboration you got. Yeah, the last collaboration you got for the game was last year in August, and the fact that we didn't even get anything, like just as a reminder, the 25th anniversary for taikonotatsujin, they had the for the Sakai collab. Just as a reminder, we didn't even get anything. Granted, normally this is not really surprising because again, Taiko doesn't really get most of the stuff that the arcade version has. Like the fact that we didn't even get the Project Sakai collab, which I just straight up realized was embarrassing because the only thing that we pretty much got was a song, an A-star song that was added to the base. song list, by the way. That was it. No producer guy collaboration. That was pretty much exclusive to the arcade. So it's like, even if this game was supposed to be like, a sort of home equivalent to Nigeria, it still feels it's being disrespectful or mistreated still. So it's like, at some point it's really hard to care for this game to the point where I don't even talk about it anymore. Well, anyway, like, this is pretty much just one of those games where I pretty much just wake up, see what song I need to grind, go online, see what songs on the music pass that I pretty much need to do, and pretty much do that song, and I pretty much just call it a game, which is pretty much what I pretty much did for this game ever since the beginning of this year, and I don't really think it's really going to stop now. But again, it's pretty much just gonna be the same way because the schedule now is you wait for what song comes out, you grind that song for a video, rinse and repeat, and it's pretty much been the same way ever since the only update for the online came out and changed the state of the game as well. And considering the fact that ever since they had diversity, they also changed the distribution songs, the way that they distribute the songs in the music pass again to 2 weeks. You usually get a batch of songs to now. We're pretty much at the point where they have to release a new song every single week just to keep your attention retention when they could have done so much more to keep players retention other than just dropping one song per week. Because again, it just comes and goes, and it's like there's no really incentive to stay. Because again, when I initially completed this game, I pretty much did everything. Again, my main goal was to pretty much like fully complete everything on this game, which I did on my original switch. So again, there wasn't really incentive for me to really come back, even with the new songs. And like, sure, I could pretty much record a new song for a video, but it felt like something that I had to do, not want to do, which I feel like is one of the worst things that you could pretty much feel when you have to be a content creator for something. But still, I really hope that things change in the future because I'm going to be honest with you guys. The current state of this game, while it's technically still fun to play, I still have fun with it overall. I feel like something really needs to change overall because, again, if Bandai Namco really wants to push this game and the franchise to as many people as possible, they really need to care about the state of the game and like actually listen to the fans, the people who dedicate their time and effort to actually play this game and make sure that people know about the franchise because there are many wonderful people out there in this community, both new and returning players who are willing to spread the love and fun of this game to many people as possible. But in Bananaco are not willing to put in the actual effort to make sure this series get the attention and effort it deserves. No wonder people are just gonna look at this game and not gonna take it seriously because again, with the current state of the game, with both the console games, the last few console games and the arcades, they pretty much have discouraged several people from pretty much trying it out. And I think at this point, we really need to just sit down and figure out what needs to be done because again, we can't keep we can't keep this facade up of oh everything is fine and we don't have to focus about anything at all. Like something really needs to change, especially if this is gonna be the way moving forward. So, with that being said, that's pretty much all I have to say. Again, this video was a bit shorter than the other two videos because, again, this was mostly just an overall thoughts video about the current state of the game and how, frankly, it's kind of become more hard and hard to play. Again, I know it mostly differs by person, and some people can pretty much grind this game for hours on end, and some people mostly grind it short, but I think it's pretty much come to the point where people really like seriously need to question Banco because again, if other franchises can do it, I don't see why Taiko can't. Because again, people are still questioning the quality of Bandai Namco. Like Digimon fans do it, and their franchise was in the shitter for years until they recently made a resurgence with games like Hackers Memory, Cyber Sleuth, and recently speaking, Time Stranger. But even then, they still question some of Bandai's decisions when it pretty much comes to recent games. And considering the fact that we also had a mobile game, which, by the way, went end of service within 1 year, and the fact that this franchise pretty much got so fucked up in the 2020s to the point where we had two games had end of service within 1 year each of each other. I think we need to have a serious discussion about what's really going on because again, it's not like Banco really interacts with the community anymore. Like I don't even remember the last time they even reached out to any creator for anything. Like they did that in like during the relay adventure part time, but even then that was with Gagura. And everyone who follows whole life pretty much know what happened to her. So again, it's like I don't know what to say anymore, man. So yeah. That's pretty much what I have to say. And this is pretty much just like most of a rant video about the current state of things and how I want to talk about it a bit more. But this is probably gonna be like maybe the last rant. Again, probably not the last rant about a game because again, I do plan on making a video where I'm probably gonna like say my closing thoughts on this game specifically as well. But I'll probably mention it when I do the 1K subscriber video, which should be happening sometime soon later at the end of the month. So yeah. That being said, that's pretty much all I have to say for this year. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time when I have something else that I do have to say as well. So peace out.